Everybody say, say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough, to say thank you. Say, Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things, Father, you done for me, yeah. Words are not enough to say thank you. So Lord, you are, you're my everything. Say, I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Oh, uya matinyana. Yeah, so uya. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Yeah. Uya matinyana. Uya matinyana. Say, I call you
TikTok, the clock ticks away. We are back with you on BWTV live at BWF Solicitors, live at BWTV, both on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Oreku Frimpon, and I say good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. It's time for us to do the community and the law. Today, I know you have this question on your mind, and I'm going to ask it for you. Why do I need to pass the life in the UK test and also the English language when I'm applying for indefinite leave to remain here in the UK? I've lived here at least for 5 years. Don't I speak English? Don't I know the culture and everything? Why do I have to pass it? There's a reason, and we're going to go into that. And then we will answer all the questions you have. Our very own lawyer, Eunice Champon, is here to help us from BWF Solicitors. So let's get into it together. Hello. There are several questions in the community when it comes to the law, especially with immigration matters. That is why I'm inviting you to join us on the program, The Community and the Law, live on BWTV and brought to you by BWF Solicitors, our trusted partners when it comes to the law. We are going to have a very massive discussion on some of the issues of immigration matters that bother you, and they have the opportunity to meet you live on the program to explain to you all the updates that have come from the Home Office and also address your questions and concerns that you might have when it comes to the law. The Community and the Law is brought to you every Saturday between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. UK time. We're live on all social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, at BWF Solicitors, at BWTV, and of course, we urge you to share the program and invite others to join us. Remember, it's at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Saturday, live on BWTV. You have your questions. There are answers. So join us, learn, and empower yourself on the program, The Community and the law. So pick up the phone and dial 0208 493 7345, or you can send a text 07950 422780. It's the community and the law. My name is Oreku Frimpon, and I am your host.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contestant and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
The scene was like, hello, lovely people, and welcome to another edition of The Community and the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors. It is the second Saturday in May 2025. We are here to help you answer a very cogent question that you have had on your mind for some time now. And whilst we're doing that, we would be saying thank you to BWF Solicitors, who will be helping us answer that. Why do I need to pass the Life in the UK test and English language when I'm applying for indefinite leave to remain? Stick and stay, because lawyer Eunice Champon is going to help us answer that, and of course the rest of the questions that you would have on your mind. It's another wonderful Saturday. The sun is out. People are celebrating the return of summer and the rest of it, but we need to have certain things done. First things first, let's say thank you to BWF Solicitors. We have done that, and I want to also see how people are expressing their appreciation and the rest of it to BWF Solicitors. So we go over to Evelyn, who has a very brief review for us. Evelyn has done it on Google, and she has sent this message. Very good and reliable service. Thank you so much for your assistance. I recommend them for any immigration purposes. Yes, I always say that without any apology, BWF Solicitor is a trusted partner when it comes to the law. So when it is about family, immigration matters, property, um, any interpretation of the law that you want to have, please speak to BWF Solicitors because they are the reliable source of information and, of course, updates. And definitely, you will benefit from that. Visit them on the first floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, Seven Sisters, North London. They work Monday to Friday between 9:30 in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening. Call them on 0208 493 7340. I say the number again, 0208 493 7340. Or in emergency situations, call 0044 77127 61884 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors is your trusted partner when it comes to the law. And every month, as we do, we assess the performances of all our workers or our staff, both here in the UK and back in Accra. And we select one person who is awarded the Employee of the Month. This month, or in fact, April 2025, we had our very own Frank Ano, a trainee solicitor, um, nominated and voted for as the Employee of the Month. You often hear him and see him and interact with him Thursday mornings on our legal education program. And we want to say congratulations to you, my brother. Employee of the Month, April 2025, Frank Ano, trainee solicitor. Bravo. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well done. You deserve it because you work hard as well. Your colleagues and everybody in the family is proud of you. Employee of the Month, Frank Ano. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's look at some bit of information that we want to really carry along and also enhance our knowledge with. Do you know it's a criminal offense for an qualified and unregulated person to give immigration advice? That's from Section 84.1 of the Immigration Asylum Act of 1999. The Act really prohibits the provision of immigration advice or services other than by a qualified person. This means an unqualified and unregulated person cannot provide advice tailored to an individual situation rather than just general information. If you wish to provide immigration advice or services, you must apply for registration with the Immigration Advice Authority. This one, as I said, is quoted from Section 92B of the Immigration and Asylum Act of 1999. And with that, let me quickly, one, introduce our guest and resource person for this afternoon, and also ask her to help us with this particular nugget that was given to us at the beginning of the week. In fact, it was released on Monday. Last week, I remember I mentioned it in passing, but today we want to look at it in a bit more detail. Good afternoon to you, my very own and how do I put it? I should say the mother of the house.
Yeah,
Auntie Eunice, good afternoon. We often don't have you on the program on a Saturday afternoon, so
I
we're so privileged and
know.
happy about
I've
it.
I've really missed coming on the Saturday program. I think we should do this more often. Good
I think
afternoon to
so. I
you
think
too.
so. Well, thank you very much. I believe everybody in the family is doing well.
By God's grace, everyone is doing well. I'm sure
We
they're
thank God for
downstairs
mercies.
trying to hear if mommy is going to mention them, but we won't talk about them.
Anyway, they will follow your footsteps, so they shouldn't worry at all. Well,
Yes.
yeah, this afternoon we're starting of Evelyn has shown her appreciation, and she has mentioned that you guys have helped her so very much. Thank you for that. She says very good and reliable service. Thank you so much for your assistance, and would want to recommend you for any immigration purposes. What would you say to Evelyn?
We really appreciate you, Evelyn. I know that we at BWS Solicitors do our very best to make sure that we provide clients with a satisfactory service. And not only that, but we want them to feel at home. We want them to feel at peace being with us as well. So we are truly grateful for your feedback, and we hope that you also recommend us to other people as well.
Wow. Thank you very much, Evelyn. Well, Auntie Ines, we are looking at a nugget which is talking about people who are unqualified and they give immigration advice. We have so many other people who I call pocket lawyers who will tell people, do this, use that, say this to the immigration officer and the rest of it. Now, the law is saying that it is not uh, allowed.
Mm.
One, I would want you to open it up a bit for us and also tell us who qualifies to give immigration advice.
Okay, so first of all, as you did read, the Immigration and Asylum Act of 1999 gives us a very clear understanding as to who is allowed to give immigration advice. And it clearly states that a person who is qualified. So, what do they mean by somebody who is qualified? First of all, the person has to be a registered person and they have to be regulated with a professional body. So, we as solicitors, for instance, I'm giving us as an example.
Mhm.
So, we as solicitors, for example, we are registered with the Law Society. So, once you've completed your degree and then you've gone on to law school and completed your professional exams, you are registered with the Law Society as a qualified solicitor, and then you have your certificate. Once you have your certificate, if you want to go on to practice law, whether with a firm or as an individual, you'll have to register with the SRA. The SRA is the Solicitors Regulation Authority. So the SRA is the body that regulates us as solicitors. And so you have to be a registered person with the Law Society and also be regulated by the SRA in order for them to know that the right checks have been put in place. You will go through a CRB check, and it's a very rigorous CRB check. And
Mm.
they want to make sure that anybody who is coming into the profession is not deemed to be somebody who has tainted their character in one way or the other. And so, um, on many occasions, you will see that our principal will share different stories or scenarios from the Law Gazette about people who have been dishonest. And you have people like trainees who have gone on to use their oyster at certain stations and not used it at certain stations because the barriers were opened. And if you are seen to be dishonest, then you are struck out. So they want to make sure that the people that enter the profession are very integral people and have a good reputation as well. So that is that in terms of a qualified person. So if you go and see a friend down the road and the person says, well, I do it for other people, they get their leave and everything is hunky-dory. Unfortunately, if they go on to make applications using your details as the person who is making their application, and they haven't used their details to say that they are making their application on your behalf, you cannot go on and say that another person made the application on your behalf. That is one disadvantage because they've used your details and your email and your contact number as if you were the person making the application. However, they have made the application on your behalf. They may have put in some wrong information or not even asked you of the correct information to put on the application form.
Okay.
And we all know that if you are seen to have not disclosed certain information or given false information, that also goes to the detriment of the applicant as well because they can be refused and other future applications may as well be refused. So it's very, very important that when you are going to somebody for legal advice or to help you with any legal issues, that you are seeing somebody who is registered and regulated by a professional body.
So does it mean that if I'm asking anybody to support me with my application, or I want the person to profess some advice, I should ask? and verify that the person is properly regulated and is the right person.
Yes, I would say so. I think a lot of people have this conception in their mind that, well, if there's a track record of this person making successful applications, then it doesn't matter if they go on and make their application and my leave is granted to me. It's very, very important. Like I said, not every application may be successful as the other ones have been. So it's very important that when you are going to somebody down the road to help you with your application, you do ask them, are you qualified? There are others that will even go to people within an office setting, and unfortunately, they too may not be registered, or they may not also be regulated as well. And so it's very, very important that when you are going to see anybody that has been recommended to you, that you do seek further information as to whether they have been regulated or they are registered. And with us as solicitors, if you go onto the Law Society website and you type in our names will readily come up. So if you want to make sure that that person is actually a barrister or a solicitor, go on the Law Society website or the Bar Council website and just type in the person's name and see if that person's name does come up.
All right. So the it's clear. The warning is there. The Immigration and Asylum Act of 1999, as we see on the screen, prohibits the provision of immigration advice or services other than by a qualified person. So in this case, I wouldn't ask Lawyer Eunice to give me the answer now, but I want to find out from you watching me right now that if you are faced with this scenario, what would happen? I have this as part of our quiz that we will be bringing you at the tail end of the program to help me answer this particular one. Kofi Antobam comes to instruct you that he intends to open Nokofio Advice and Consultancy Center so that he can provide immigration advice to his community in Salford. Kofi has a law degree from the University of Umofia and a master's degree in law from Birmingham University. I have three statements, and I want you to help me identify which one is accurate. Number one, as Kofi intends to provide immigration advice to the public, he must register with the Immigration Advice Authority, IAA, so to speak, because he is unqualified. Is that accurate? Or look at number two, as Kofi has a master's degree in law, is a lawyer, and can provide immigration advice. Is that accurate? Look at the third one as well. As Kofi has set up a consultancy, Nokofio, they can provide immigration advice. So look at these three statements, 1, 2, or 3, and tell me which one is the accurate one out of the three. I will come back to you to ask for you to give me answers at the tail end. But now we're going to say thank you to BWF solicitors. And when we come back, we are going to get into the discussion. Why would I have to pass the English language and life in the UK test when I'm applying for indefinite leave to remain in the UK? This is a question I'll be throwing at Lawyer Eunice when we come back.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contestant and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner, with over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
AA Music Entertainment presents Emmanuel Praise on the 25th of May at the Pavilion, 143 to 146 Oxford Road, Reading, RG1 7UY, featuring Irabna, Joyce Blessing, and hosted by Alex Achampo. Show starts at 6 p.m. with a concession price of £15 for children from 5 to 16 years old. Tickets are £35 standard, £60 double, £60 VIP, includes a VIP seat, meet and greet the artiste, take pictures with the artiste, VIP snacks, water and drink. Get your tickets at alexichampon.com or call 0744 741 7321. Emmanuel Praise with Irabna and Joyce Blessing, and hosted by Alex Achampon. It's guaranteed to be awesome.
Thank you very much for sticking around, and I know that you have enjoyed it so far. I've got various people who have, as tradition of this program demands, identified themselves on the social media platform. Adair Terrible is here. Please share when you join on the program. Remember, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at BWF Solicitors and at BWTV. Sandra Fraser, good afternoon, Lawyer Eunice, and the host. Oh, you forgotten my name. My name is Origo Frimpong. Thank you. Charles and Mary, good afternoon, Lawyer Eunice. Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you for always being here. And Tilly Duma, hello, lovely family. Thank you, Tilly. Those of you who have joined us, please let us know you are watching with us. And I believe that as time goes on, we will have the chance of welcoming you again. And if you have a question, we will pick it up from there as well. If you have another question or any question at all, you can send it via text 07399208-468. And when the lines are active, you can call in as well. Ubaida Yusuf, thank you for all the support you have been rendering to the community. Ubaida, thank you for trusting us as BWF solicitors and getting us to do the stuff we do for you as well. English language, life in the UK test. Why do I have to pass these two when I'm applying for indefinite leave to remain? So I'm going to look at three different things: life in the UK test, English language, and indefinite leave to remain. What are these? Laura Eunice, welcome again. And in fact, these questions are in front of you.
Thank you so much again, Oreku.
Yeah,
We are so grateful for your time and also all the things that you do to make sure that this program goes on
we
successfully.
thank God.
Yes, to our question for the week. Why do I need to complete this Life in the UK test and English language test when applying for indefinite leave to remain? So, as you very, very clearly introduced, when you have lived there for at least 5 years, you know that most application routes would allow you to make an application for indefinite leave to remain. And there will be those who will make indefinite leave to remain on different routes. Maybe they've been here 10 years or even less, and they would be eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain after the required period of time. And so, very quickly, we can basically straight ahead say this requirement for English language and life in the UK does not apply to all indefinite leave to remain applications.
Okay.
So there are some indefinite leave to remain applications that require you to make that should I say, passing those tests, but there are those that will easily allow you to go through. Some of the indefinite leave to remain applications that do not require life in the UK test and English language test are applications for indefinite leave to remain on a discretionary basis, applications for indefinite leave to remain based on domestic violence,
Mm,
applications for those who have come in through the asylum protection or human rights protection route. You have indefinite leave to remain applications for those who are on the skilled worker route. The highly skilled worker routes do not need to complete that English language test or life in the UK test. You will also have people who have come as bereaved partners making an application for indefinite leave to remain as well. They do not also have to complete this English language test or life in the UK test. So there are specific categories of people who do not need to complete this test whatsoever. And then you have those who would need to complete the test, such as those making applications for indefinite leave to remain on the family route, those who are under the points based system. And then you have those who are making the application on their private life, based on their private life as well, who have to complete these tests before they can make their application for indefinite leave to remain. So that is one part of the
okay.
question answered. And then you will also have those people who have it as a requirement to complete those tests, having
Mm,
to complete it at a certain level as well.
okay.
And you
Let me come in here. The English language, you are talking about passing it at a certain level,
yeah.
and life in the UK test also being in here. I want us to really look at those two tests that one needs to pass. Life in the UK. Why that? What is that?
Okay, so in regards to the life in the UK test,
Hmm.
um, those of our viewers who may have done it may know what it is, and then we may have certain viewers who may not know what a life in the UK test
Hmm.
is. So, most people would usually know that if they were to complete a naturalization application or an application for naturalization, you will have to do what we call a life in the UK test, and you will have to pass at least 18 out of 24, I think 18 out of 23 questions. And the test is to test that you have sufficient knowledge about life in the UK. So it will test everything you know about the culture, the politics, um, anything to do with British life, basically. It will just test your knowledge to see how abreast you are with the British culture. And so most people who may have taken this test would have gone to get a Life in the UK book, or would have gone to download the app so that they could go through questions that are likely to come up. So it tests everything to do with British culture, politics, life in general, within the UK. And this includes Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales, and not just England. So, as much as possible, most people who would obviously undergo some sort of indefinite leave to remain application may want to um, obviously do this test, because even if you don't do the indefinite leave to remain application as under the route of a family member or a private life route person, or somebody who has come on the skilled worker route, you would have to do it for a British nationality application. So you would have to at some point undertake this exam. And so most people know that this is the exam for those who would usually take this um, test to go on and say that, hey, I'm applying for indefinite leave to remain. Do I need to do this test or not? And yes, you will have to do it, because the government introduced it as part of those making the indefinite leave to remain applications um, in February of 2016. So, unfortunately, for those who came under the family root system that was introduced as of July 2012, you would have to definitely undergo what we call the Life in the UK test when making your application for indefinite leave to remain.
Well, let me then come to the English language. I mentioned that somebody who's lived in the UK, for instance, for at least 5 years, would be able to speak English one way or the other, express themselves very well. So I'm going for my indefinite leave to remain, where um, I do not have to go to renew at any point in time. Why would I have to write English again?
Yes, so when it comes to the English language test, at least there are certain criterias in terms of that. So they say that if you are from an English speaking country, and the truth be told, most countries in the world speak English, but on the .gov.uk website, or on our immigration rules, we have only about 18 countries that are English speaking countries. So, unfortunately, even if you say you are from Ghana, yes, in Ghana, our official language may be English, but we are not part of the list of English speaking countries. So, when it comes to those who are mainly from English speaking countries such as the USA, Canada, Jamaica, most of the countries in the Caribbean, Australia, then you can go on to say that you don't need to satisfy this English language requirement because you are from a mainly English speaking country. So those people are exempt from obviously taking an English language exam. And then, secondly, you have people who may, for one reason or the other, have degrees or masters or a PhD. So, if you have an undergraduate degree or a master's or a PhD, if your should I say your course was taken here in the UK, for example, you wouldn't need NARIC to confirm that your course was taken in English and it meets the required European framework level. But when you say that, for instance, you had your course undertaken in a country like Ghana, they would require you to first confirm that it was taught in English, and then they would want to assess whether that course um, obviously meets the required European framework level, which is usually from a level A1 upwards. And so A1 is the least, and then you go on to A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So if your course that has been undertaken in English is graded at a level C1 or C2, you know that you are the highest graded level for an English language test. If your course that you have undertaken was in England, for instance, then you wouldn't obviously need ECTIS to confirm or assess, because automatically they know that you meet the required European framework level. And then for somebody who hasn't got a degree, like an undergraduate or a master's, or doesn't come from an English speaking country, they would have to undergo either an IELTS or an ISO, which is an English speaking and listening exam. So once you go ahead to say that you will be taking that exam, you have to find out at what level you will need to be undertaking that. And for most people who will be taking making an application under the indefinite leave to remain route as a family member, you would have to complete it at a level B1. So most times people's maybe speaking English at a very basic level, but once you go on to take that test, it's an English speaking and listening exam. So you are not writing, you are not putting anything on the computer, you are having a conversation with somebody. And so the conversation that you are going to be having with the person is testing how well you are able to deliver your response when the question is put to you, and how well you are able to even understand the question that is put to you. So that is how the exam is tested and then graded. And so once your test results come, you must have reached a level B1. If you are short of that B1 level, then that means that you will have to undergo the test again until you get the level B1 that is required for indefinite leave to remain application. So it's very rigorous, but it's not too hectic. I know most people are able to do it at a level A1 or a level A2, but sometimes you may need to polish up, and there are classes that are offered. Maya T, our Friday host, also is also part of the KT consulting group that helps people
People to
pass
do that.
English
Okay.
language.
Can I
Yes,
just take you a step back? If, for instance,
yes.
I am on a 5 year route or a 10 year route before I get to reach the point where I can apply for indefinite leave to remain, when I'm starting that journey on any of the routes, either 10 year, 5 year, or long stay, whatever it is, do I have to pass the English language?
Yes. So anybody who is on the family route, whether you're on the 5 year route to um, getting your indefinite leave to remain, or you're on the 10-year route to settlement, you would still have to undertake the English speaking
Okay.
and listening exam if you don't have an undergraduate degree or a master's degree. That's a precaution there, because there will be those who would say, well, for instance, when I was coming into the UK, I completed an IELTS. Do I need to do it again? Or I didn't even know that I had to complete it at another
Mhm.
level. So I just went on to make the application. And because people don't have the information or the knowledge that they are supposed to do these tests at a certain level, they go on and then make the application, and then they don't add the required English level results that they need to add in terms of making
Okay.
the application. So yes, you would need to complete that
So then I
test.
can say in the ordinary person's term that by the time you have gone through your route and reached the point where you can apply for indefinite, then you should show that you have a higher level of qualification in the English language.
Yes, 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 yes. Because when you're starting off, you start at a lower level. You start at level A1. and then you progress to the A2 level for the second part of your application on the 5 year route. And then once you've completed your 5 year route, you would then have to complete it at a level B1 in order to meet or satisfy the requirement under the appendix call, or for most people under appendix FM.
So if I get to the point where I'm applying for indefinite leave to remain and I don't pass it the first time, I go the second time, the third time, still I don't pass, would they give me any consideration because I've tried?
So I think most people are in this circumstance. And I think that is one of the reasons why I even raised this topic, because a lot of people find themselves in this circumstance where they are taking the test, especially the Life in the UK test. As I said, the English language test is an exam that is just testing your understanding of the English language and your response. So it's a conversation. So most people are able to pass that without much ado. But when you come to the Life in the UK test, it is a whole different ball game. And
Mm,
so most people will take the test maybe twice, three times, four times. There are some people who will even tell you they've taken it five times already and they're still not passing it. And so, in this circumstance, what do they do? Is it
mhm,
that they can just say to the Home Office, "Well, I've tried so many times to pass and I can't pass it, so I'm going to let you exempt me from it"? No, unfortunately, only those that are 65 and above, or under the age of 18, are exempt from taking it. So if you are between the ages of 18 to 64, you would definitely need to take the test. And so somebody who is taking it several times and hasn't passed, most times, if you're under the family route, they will go ahead to say that because you meet the requirements of the leave to remain route, they will go ahead and give you 30 months leave to remain because you still meet the requirements. Unfortunately, because you're not able to show that you have sufficient knowledge of life in the UK, or that you have sufficient knowledge of the English language, they cannot grant you indefinite leave to remain. So you would have to now remain on the route that you were on, which is the family route, in order to pass your exam. So, as much as possible, the Life in the UK test, it never expires. So, if you're on the family route and you want to do that Life in the UK test, I would say it is something that you can start to study now, and
mhm.
then take it, so that once you are ready to apply for your indefinite leave to remain, you are not found wanting. You would have it already done and set in place, rather than you having to rush to get it done. So a word to our eyes is enough.
So then I can say that immediately I'm granted my first two and a half. Now I start preparing for my Life in the UK test.
Okay, so usually, yes, for me, I would say go ahead and start. Um, Especially for those who find studying very difficult. So you
Mm,
have people who think they can't do it. They can't speak the English language, or they can't even understand it. So there's no point to them studying anything. For me, I always say that if you need help, there's always help available. There are
mm,
classes available, like I said, that you can attend, and then they keep you abreast with the English language. And then they can help you in terms of their life in the UK. But it's always best to start early. When you start early, then it helps you make sure that you have everything in place before your time is up. So yes, if you're on your first two and a half and you want to take the Life in the UK test, why not? Go ahead, give it a go, and see how that goes. You would always have it readily available when your time for indefinite leave to remain is up.
So I'm looking at a scenario here. I am giving my first two and a half when I start on my family route. I pass the Life in the UK test. Then probably let's say I'm on the 10-year route. Would my certificate at the start of the journey be used, or would that be accepted when I get to the end of the 10 years? Wouldn't it expire? Would I have to let them know that I have it and I'm waiting to use it at that time?
So with the Life in the UK test, as I said, it's just to test how well you know about life in the UK and the culture and everything that comes with living in the UK. So if you were to take the test at the beginning of your 10-year route, it does not expire, it will remain valid. The English language test, that is the one that expires. So me going to sit in front of somebody to have a conversation and then them marking me, that one expires within 2 years. So if
Okay.
I use, um, let's say, my certificate for a successful application and I took it at a higher level. So, for instance, instead of doing it at a level A1, I decided to do it at a level B1 right from the get go of me applying for leave to remain in the
Mhm.
UK. And obviously, I go on to use that certificate for my initial application and it's accepted. I can go on to use it for my subsequent applications, including the indefinite leave to remain application, and it will be accepted because it was accepted the first time.
Okay.
That's why we don't advise people to do the English language test in advance because it has a 2 year expiration date.
Okay.
With the life in the UK, there is no expiration date whatsoever.
Yes, if you just joined us, we are live on BWTV and we are coming your way courtesy BWF Solicitors. This afternoon, we're looking at why you should pass the English language and life in the UK test when you are applying for your indefinite leave to remain here in the UK. Lawyer Eunice Champon is a resource person and guest. I want to say thank you to BWF Solicitors for giving us this opportunity to know what it is that we have to know and how best we can use the knowledge. If you would want to visit BWF Solicitors, they work Monday to Friday between 9:30 in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening on the fourth floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 Tottenham High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Going by public transport, I would advise get on the Victoria line on the underground. Um, Seven Sisters is the station you get off. Use exit number 2. That will bring you to the frontage of the Anna House. Climb up to the fourth floor. They are there, and you would experience what others have experienced. Like Evelyn, our very friend, who said that she would recommend BWF solicitors to people who need immigration advice. BWF solicitors has also advised us this afternoon, especially that if you are not registered and the right person and qualified to give immigration advice, please don't do it because you fall foul of the law. These are things they tell us. These are the benefits we get from them. And one particular one is the discussion of the question and the topic that we have this afternoon. Lawyer Eunice Achampo, thank you. But we still haven't finished. We're taking a quick break to say thank you to BWF Solicitors, give you a sneak preview of what they do. And when we come back, we will, one, be picking up your questions, further discussion on the topic, and then again, we will get to our quiz. We were talking about Kofi Antubam, who has opened up a consultancy. He's passed his law degree, he's got a master's, and the rest of it. And I've given you 3 statements asking which of them is accurate. It's the community and the law.
Based in London, we are a dynamic award-winning firm specialising in a range of legal services. Welcome to BWF Solicitors, a trusted and experienced law firm specialising in immigration and nationality, appeals and judicial review, dispute resolution, family and matrimonial, and other family law disputes with international context. These include matters such as private child arrangement orders, contested and uncontested divorce, non-molestation for domestic violence, and financial remedy. Our childcare and family team appreciate the issues facing you at such a difficult time. Our advice is delivered in a confidential and sensitive manner. Meet Bernard Owusu, our esteemed senior partner. With over 32 years of experience and known for his expertise and dedication to serving our clients and the community. BWF Solicitors stands for integrity, respect, excellence, teamwork, diversity, inclusion, and service to the community. We provide tailored assistance specific to your case. At BWF Solicitors, every day is filled with dedication, creativity, and a commitment to finding the best solutions for our clients. Our team at BWF Solicitors is ready to assist you with all your legal needs. You can find us at the 4th floor, Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road, Seven Sisters, London, N15 4NP. Our main office line is 0208 493 7340, or our emergency line is 07712 761 884.
AA Music Entertainment presents Emmanuel Praise on the 25th of May at the Pavilion, 143 to 146 Oxford Road, Reading, RG1 7UY, featuring Irabna, Joyce Blessing, and hosted by Alex Achampo. Show starts at 6 p.m. with a concession price of £15 for children from 5 to 16 years old. Tickets are £35 standard, £60 double, £60 VIP. Includes a VIP seat, meet and greet the artiste, take pictures with the artiste, VIP snacks, water and drink. Get your tickets at alexachampon.com or call 0744 741 7321. Emmanuel Praise with Irabna and Joyce Blessing and hosted by Alex Achampon. It's guaranteed to be awesome.
And we are back and live with you on BWTV for the program The Community and the Law, brought to you by BWF Solicitors. Now remember, you can visit BWF Solicitors, as I said, physically in their offices Monday to Friday. If you want to meet any of the lawyers over the weekend, you have to book an appointment. So remember, 0208 493 7340. We are live with lawyer Eunice Achampon, and we're looking at why we should pass the Life in the UK test and the English language when we're applying for our indefinite leave to remain in the country UK. Well, lawyers, you mentioned it, but I want to get some reiteration of that. So if I have to write it 10 times and I haven't passed, so it means that my indefinite leave to remain will not be granted. But would it be refused if I don't pass?
So when it comes to, for instance, those on the family route, most caseworkers will have the discretion to vary an application under the rules if they believe that you meet the requirements for leave to remain. So maybe I'm applying for leave indefinite leave to remain as a parent. I haven't yet passed the life in the UK. Maybe I've been able to pass the English language, for instance. I've passed the English language. I've gotten a level B1, but the life in the UK is the one that is really, really doing my head in, because I am not able to pass it and I have no time to waste in terms of making my application. Maybe my leave is about to expire in 2 weeks, and I don't want a situation where my leave will expire before I put in the application. So I'm going to put in the application before my leave expires. And you believe that maybe sometime before your biometric is enrolled, you'll be able to pass on the life in the UK test. Unfortunately, your biometric time is up. You still haven't been able to pass the test, even though you've taken it several times. um, you have undergone your biometric enrollment, and then they come back some few weeks later and they ask you for your results for your life in the UK test. And to tell you the truth, the only thing you can tell them is that you're going to do it again. And usually, the test centers, there are very many around England, Wales, and Scotland. So even if you wanted a test within the same week of them requesting for the results, you would probably be able to get an availability or a booking. You undergo the test again, and maybe they've given you 2 weeks or 10 working days to provide the evidence that they require, and you still haven't been able to pass. They are not going to refuse you if they believe that you've got all the other evidence that shows that you are still in a parental relationship with a child. You have evidence to show that maybe you are able to meet the financial requirement, the accommodation requirement, the English language requirement, as I just said, but unfortunately you haven't been able to pass the life in the UK, then of course they would go ahead and grant you 30 months leave to remain, again, on the 10-year route, because the caseworker has that discretion to vary your leave from making an indefinite leave to remain application to leave to remain application. And in those circumstances, because the fees for indefinite leave to remain is different to the fees for leave to remain applications, they would send you a notification or an email to say, well, we believe that you do not meet the requirements for indefinite leave to remain. Sorry. But we do think that you meet the requirements for leave to remain as a parent, and therefore we would like to vary your leave. Can you please accept this as us varying your leave? We will return the funds or the money you paid for your indefinite leave to remain application. Can you therefore pay the application fee and the IHS through this link? And once you have done so, we will go ahead to make a decision for leave to remain as a parent. And so once you've made the payment for the application and the IHS, then they will go ahead and make their decision for 2.5 or 30 months leave to remain as a parent who is living in the UK. So they wouldn't necessarily refuse your application, they would just vary the application. A refusal is very rare. That would only be in circumstances
So
where
then,
you do not.
allow me to push it to a very far
Yeah.
limit. They give
Yes.
me 30 months, so I could get myself ready, pass the test. After 30 months, I still
Mm.
have not, but I've completed my 10-year route. What will happen to me?
You'll still be on the 2.5-year route. So you will continuously be put on the leave to remain route. Because the whole point, like I said at the beginning, is to test that you have sufficient knowledge of the English language and sufficient knowledge of life in the UK, because they've realized that some migrants don't even care about what goes on in the country. They have no knowledge whatsoever of maybe who the prime minister is, what the king does as his role. They have no understanding whatsoever. And so they are saying, well, you've come into the country to integrate with us as
Mhm.
a country. Please let us know that you have embedded yourself in our culture, so we want you to know these things as well. So if you are still not able to pass, then you will still be put on the leave to remain, as they have that discretion to put you on there. Yeah.
Is it a difficult one?
No, I don't think it's difficult. I just think that if you apply
No,
yourself to it.
for you, yes, it shouldn't be difficult for you. But those of us who, um, well, you know what I want to say.
Why, why do you say for me? I've never even taken it before, so maybe it might be difficult. The reason why I say it's not difficult is because it's a multiple choice question, or should I
Okay.
say test. So you have to choose from a list of answers which one is correct. If you were
Okay.
left alone to answer it, then even for me, I would say it's a difficult, because if what I don't remember, but I have a list of answers, and that should trigger what the answer should be. And so I like to use my clients, for instance, as a yardstick. Many of my clients may not have even been to tertiary education, they may not have been to school. And so for me, the thing I always say to them is, you have kids at home, start practicing with your kids. Speak the English language with them at home. Let them show you what this is on your phone. Let them give you pointers. The kids are there for a reason. Yes, they may not be, I mean, your best companions, but use them to the best of your advantage. So use the kids. And then if you have some time, most people stay on their phones going through social media. I don't know how people do it, because I don't even know where they get the time. I'm just thinking to myself, where do they even get the time to do it? But the time that you are using to go on social media, use that time to go through the test questions over and over and over again. So I always say to them, if you don't pass the first time, try it again, because at some point you are likely to start, I mean, to pass. It's £50 per test, but keep practicing, keep going, keep having a go. I've had people who've come to me and said, man, I mean, it's man, go school, mean to me, yeah, and yeah, they are me, yeah, me say, me, yo, me, yeah. And I'm like, madam, me so be, open, me say, cry, me so be. And usually, most of the time, when I have literally used my uh, cohesive powers to let them know that they will do it, they eventually pass. Maybe they didn't pass 3 times in a row, but eventually they
They
passed.
passed.
So I think it's doable.
But looking at it, like Eunice, if you don't pass and they give you the discretionary 2.5 to get you time to do that, it comes with a lot of costs. You
Mm,
will be paying your IHS, you will be paying your application fee again, and the rest of it. So if
mm,
you spend just a few hundreds of pounds to try again and again and again, then definitely is cheaper and better for you. So keep trying, but don't say I'm not going to do it. You have to do it, because unfortunately that's what the law and immigration rules say. We're live on BWTV. We're doing the community and the law. And our guest and resource person this afternoon is lawyer Eunice Champon, partner of BWF Solicitors. Your questions, your concerns, now we're going to pick them. But before then, let me ask you to look at my scenario again. I'll start with the nugget where we said that um, it's a criminal offense for an unqualified and unregulated person to give immigration advice. That's according to Section 84(1) of the Immigration and Asylum Act of 1999. And that act prohibits the provision of immigration advice or services other than by a qualified person. This means an unqualified and unregulated person cannot provide advice tailored to an individual situation rather than just general information. So if you wish to provide immigration advice or services, you must apply for registration with the Immigration Advice Authority, IAA. I quoted this from Section 92B of the Immigration and Asylum Act of 1999. So then my scenario is this. Kofi Antobam comes to instruct you that he intends to open the Kofi Advice and Consultancy Center so that he can provide immigration advice to his community in Salford. Kofi has a law degree from the University of Umufia and a master's degree in law from Birmingham University. I have three statements. Which one is accurate? As Kofi intends to provide immigration advice to the public, he must register with the Immigration Advice Authority, IAA. He is unqualified. Kofi has a master's degree in law. He's a lawyer and therefore can provide immigration advice. Is that accurate? Tell me. And the third one here is as Kofi has set up a consultancy that is Lokofio, they can provide immigration advice. Think about these, but we're going to take your questions and your comments. And when we come back, we will be looking at that. So, Linus, we will announce the phone lines. It's 0208 493 7345. 0208 493 7345. Or if anybody has a voice note, text message, WhatsApp message, you can send it via text number 07399 208 468. 208 468. Or you can put the comments and the questions in the comment section down below on Facebook at BWF Solicitors, at BWTV, and on YouTube at BWF Solicitors and at YouTube. Let's see what we have, maybe from the comment section down below. Remember, we did our discussion on why we needed to pass the Life in the UK test and also the English test when we're applying for our indefinite leave to remain. On our text message line, Bismarck says, my problem is that I came here in 2022 with 6 months visiting visa and decided not to go back. Is there something you can do to help me regularize my stay? Well,
Mr. Bismarck, I believe that there are so many people in your situation. Um, with these advice, I always say that it's always best to come in. There are various options that you may have. Um, there is the family roots application, and most times we always say that those who have decided to overstay their stay don't have much choice. They have very limited choice in terms of what applications they can make. And one of them is the family root application. So if you are making an application for leave to remain, either based on your spouse or the child that you may have in the UK, you will definitely need legal advice, because obviously there are certain applications under the family route that would require you to go back home, and then there are those that would be okay for you to apply here in the UK. And then you have those who are making applications based on their private life. So if you're making an application based on your private life, most times we say that you have to have lived here for 20 years. So if you've lived here for 20 years, then you can make the application. If you've lived here less than the 20 years, then there must be insurmountable obstacles to you going back to your country of origin. And this is a very high threshold, as it will require that you show evidence of reasons why you would find it difficult to go back to your country of origin to make an application, and that you will need to remain here in the UK to put in your application. And they have to consider this when granting you leave to remain. So, Mr. I forgot his
Bismarck, yeah.
name. Yes, Mr. Bismarck, please, if you need further advice, do book a consultation either in person or by phone.
Right. So, Bismarck, thank you. Other people, yes, you can keep texting or bringing your comments here. Does the leave to remain expire? Sylvester is asking, leave to remain. I think there are various leaves to remain. The
Yes.
question my brother is asking is, does it expire?
I think the answer is in the name, isn't it? So it
Hmm.
says leave to remain. It doesn't say indefinite leave to remain.
No.
So with leave to remain, you are always granted a certain period of time to remain in the United Kingdom. And so, depending on which route you are applying for leave to remain, either you are granted 2.5 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years leave to remain, but there's always an expiration to a leave to remain. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, keep them coming through 0208 493 7345 is a telephone number. Text 0399208468. The back to the topic we discussed, Laura. Um, we have people who are on the immigration route. Some are EU dependents or the USS on all the other bits. Those who have uh, roots that way. Let me put it that way. Do they have to write the English language and the Life in the UK test when you're on the EU route?
So, for those who are specifically under the EU settlement scheme, there is no requirement that when they're applying for settled status or when they're applying for indefinite leave to remain, that they have to complete an English language test or they have to complete the Life in the UK test. And so, for those on that route, they are, should I say, exempt until they want to apply for naturalization. So, for indefinite leave to remain applications or even leave to remain applications, they don't have to undertake any English test. They don't have to undertake any life in the UK test. But when they go on to say they want to naturalize to be a British citizen, then they will have to go ahead and complete both tests in order to make their application for naturalization.
Then I will extend it that if I have applied for indefinite leave to remain and I would want to move on to naturalize to become a British citizen, do I still have to repeat these two tests?
So if you've already done it as part of your
Indefinite leave.
indefinite leave to remain application,
Mhm.
it is part of a successful application. So if you used it successfully in your indefinite leave to remain application, you can go ahead and then say because you've passed already when you were making your application for indefinite leave to remain, you have not decided to undertake another English language test. Bear in mind, the Life in the UK test does not expire. The only one that expires is the English language test. So if you are saying that you used this successfully in your indefinite leave to remain application, then you wouldn't have to retake another English language test for a naturalization application.
In our discussion, I remember you mentioned there are various levels of the English language: A1, A2, B1, B2, and C. Can you let us know what the difference is? Do I have to have, if I have an A1, is it the highest or the lowest? And which one will be the highest if that is not?
Okay, so when it comes to our English language test, usually they call it the framework or the European framework guide as to how they come by these levels. I cannot tell you for sure that this is
Hmm.
how they come by them. But when you look at the structure by which they expect you to meet the requirements, for instance, somebody who's made an application for entry clearance as a spouse of a British citizen, when they are first making the application, the immigration rules would require them to take the test at a level A1. And so I've made an application. I want to come and join my spouse in the UK. I've gone on to complete the IELTS um, at the IELTS consortium in Ghana, for instance. And I've passed at a level A1 and I'm now coming to the UK because I've been granted my visa. Once I enter into the UK, I have to make another application for further leave to remain. And so, with that application, they require that I take yet another English language test, and this time that is at a level A2. So, once I've completed the test at a level A2 and I've passed, and my notification or my certificate has been granted to me, I go on and make the application for further leave to remain. And then once I've completed 5 years, because I know that if I have come here on a visa as a spouse of a British citizen, after a 5 year route, I have to be able to apply for settlement. So once I'm applying for settlement, I know that I have to be able to take the English language test again at a level B1. So it starts off at a level A1, and then you go to A2, then a B1, then a B2, then a C1, then a C2. So as you go up in the ascending order, the higher the level. And most people who are on the skilled worker route will understand this much better, because they don't only do the speaking and listening exam, they have to do it as speaking, listening, reading, and writing exam. So they have a different grading in terms of what I'm saying now. Those on the family route who only have to take the speaking and listening will usually be graded at a level A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. So as you go up in the ascending order, the higher the level or the grading.
Can we come to speak to you so you tell us which level we will be requested to pass at?
Yes. So anyone who would need some sort of advice as to what level they need to complete their exam at, yes, you can definitely seek our advice, and then we can help you in terms of what level you will need to complete it, whether you're on the family route or on the skilled worker route. Just do let us know, and then we can help you out.
Right. Your text number is 0739920848, or you can call 0208493735, or put your question in the comment section down below, either on Facebook at BWF Solicitors BWTV, and on YouTube BWF Solicitors and BWTV. Douglas says, I got into the UK in July 2020 on the EU settlement scheme. Do I apply for my settlement status in July 2025, or I have to apply when my card was issued in September 2020?
Okay, so he didn't say what family member he is. Usually it helps if you say what family member you are, whether you're a dependent or a spouse. That will help us to determine when you should apply for settlement.
Hmm.
Um, he says his card was issued to him in September 2020. Okay, so I'm assuming maybe he's a spouse.
Hmm.
Um, if he's a spouse and he entered the UK in July of 2020, I'm not sure whether he entered with a family permit, but I'm assuming he entered with the EA family permit. And then once he entered, he made application for pre-settled status, which is the 5 years. And then once obviously he was granted the 5 years, he's thinking, my 5 years will be up in September of 2025. So do I go ahead to apply in July, or do I apply in September of 2025? If you are a spouse of an EA national, from the moment that you entered, you are a family member. And if you were granted EA family permit, even the more reason to say that you were granted leave on that basis. And therefore, you can apply for settlement or indefinite leave to remain in July of 2025, because from the time you entered up until now, you can show that you have lived here continuously for a period of 5 years. So when they say a continuous qualifying period of 5 years. They want you to show that you've lived here continuously with that spouse for that 5 year period.
Well, keep them coming through. Eunice is here by courtesy of BWF Solicitors. We are bringing you the community and the law, and your questions are being answered. I need to speak to Lawyer Eunice. Please, do I have the right number?
So yes, our office line is there. If you need to speak to us during office hours, yes, our office line is there. But on Saturdays, obviously, you can call me on my personal number, which is 075 3581 3910. So yes, if you need to speak to me, you can call me directly, and then once we've spoken, we can book a consultation for you to speak further.
Okay. So, yes, she's just not on TV to tell you what it is. You can call her and have some consultation with her. Or you generally call the office number 0208 493 7340. I have GCSE English and Functional Skills English Level 2. Do I need English? Um, do I have to do the English language test again? Where did
Okay,
you have
so
that GCSE English? Is he here in the UK, Ibrahim? Would it be a legitimate question to ask Ibrahim Loyanis?
to tell you the truth, I would like to know which route he's on, because there are certain routes that will permit you to use your English language GCSE. I know in um other countries they have the equivalent of a GCSE. I think those that do, they call it the International Bachelorette or something like that. But um um I want to know what route he's on. If he's on a skilled worker route, maybe um that will be sufficient. But for the family route, no, you cannot rely on your GCSE English test that you did whilst you were in secondary school. They are very particular. It has to be an undergraduate degree, a master's degree, or a PhD. So if you have neither of those, then you might as well take the English speaking and listening exam at a level B1.
The community and the law continues. We still have time for you to bring in your questions, your concerns, either on Facebook or YouTube. Let us have it. Or you can call us on the line 0208 493 7345. Why do I need to pass the life in the UK test and English language when applying for indefinite leave to remain? That's the topic we have discussed. Douglas says, thank you. God bless you, Lawyer Eunice.
God bless you too, Douglas.
Well, Douglas, what you can also do, as well as every other person, what you can do is go to Google review and give us the review as much as you can, so that you can one beautify our algorithm and also enhance the wealth of good things that you people have said about us, and also give us feedback, because we work with that as well, so we can improve the service we provide you. Nanetia Hine is asking, what is discretionary leave to remain, please? What are the eligibility requirements for discretionary leave to remain? Lawyer.
Okay, so discretionary leave to remain, I would say, is on the basis that you have family life in the UK, and this was before the immigration rules changed in July of 2012. So usually you would have been given 3 years discretionary leave to remain as a family member, and then another 3 years, and then after 6 years you would apply for indefinite leave to remain. So when the rules changed in July of 2012, that meant that those on the family route would have to obviously apply for leave to remain on the basis that they were a parent or a child or a partner of a British citizen or somebody who was settled. Those on the discretionary route had transitional rules in place, and so they didn't have to fall under the new rules, they could apply for another discretionary leave of 3 years, leave to remain in the UK. So those who are on the discretionary route would usually have 3 years rather than 2.5 years. And once they've completed that 6 year period, they can then apply for indefinite leave to remain. And with them, as long as they can show that they've completed 6 years, they can go ahead and make the application. They don't have to have any English language test or life in the UK test.
You stay with us live on BWTV, brought to you by BWF Solicitors. As I said, we discussed why you needed to pass a live in the UK test. Laura Eunice Achampon is here. On a Saturday, he says, can you get married to someone on on benefit as overstay applicant?
So Kwame Saturday. So yes, you can get married to anybody of your choice. That is up to you. The government cannot control who you get married to or not. Um, I think the question you want to ask is, can you apply for leave to remain on the basis that you are married to somebody who is dependent on benefits? I think that's the question you want to ask. If it comes to you making an application, most times they want to know whether this person that you are married to has any children who are under the age of 18 that you are looking after, and whether it will be unreasonable for that child to leave the UK. And that is an exception under the immigration rules. So you have two parts to the exception. If you are not able to meet the immigration status requirement, or you are not able to meet the financial requirements, like in your case, where, for instance, the person is dependent on benefits, or you are not able to meet the English language requirement, as we've discussed. There are exceptions to the rules, and so one of the exceptions to the rule is whether there is a child under the age of 18 that you are looking after, or you also have parental responsibility for. If there is no such child, then the second part of the exception says that you must be able to show that there will be insurmountable obstacles to you and your partner leaving the UK and going back to your country of origin. So, if there are insurmountable obstacles, which the immigration rules describe as greatly or great difficulties or harsh um, circumstances, then it means that, for instance, if I were to be sent back to my country of origin, currently there's a war going on, there's no way I'll be able to survive, and it's proper that I make the application from here, within the UK, rather than going back to my country to make that application. So you have to weigh whether you meet the first part of the exception or the second part of the exception in order for them to now go ahead and grant your leave. But in terms of, yes, the way I understood the question, I think you're trying to say, if the person is on benefits, would I still be able to make the application? If you don't meet the requirements, there's always an exception to the rule, which you can go ahead and say you meet. If you don't meet the immigration rules, which is the financial requirement, and you don't also meet the exceptions to the rules, then it is likely that you may be refused.
Yeah, we're still on it. Keep them coming through. Keep them in the comment section, either on Facebook or YouTube, and also on our text message phone as well. Which of the English language is to be written by the spouse of an European applying for naturalization, lawyer?
For those who are applying for naturalization, you will need to take the English speaking and listening at a level B1.
Okay. Well, so Gerald, yes, level B1, you need to pass. Sylvia Mensa, thanks for watching. Rexford Crunchy, thanks for watching. Isaac Kofikisi, thanks for watching as well. Sheila Upton, Douglas Jason, and all the ones that we have on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so very much. Keep them coming through. Let's pick up Kofi's one. He says, Laura, good afternoon. I am on stay and I have a British girlfriend for 3 years now, and she has two adult children. Is there a way I can use her status to change my current one?
Oh, Kofi. So I know that obviously when it comes to these applications, um, people are always finding ways and means to see if their circumstances will apply to um, the requirements that are needed. When it comes to those that have adult children, um, if you're making an application for leave to remain, you either have to be making it as a parent or as a partner. So if you are saying that you're a parent, the requirement under Appendix FM is that you are making the application saying that you have parental responsibility for a child who is under the age of 18. So it's very specific in that regard. If the children are above the age of 18, then of course you know that you can't rely on them. If you're making the application on the basis that you have a partner here in the UK who is either settled or even British or even under the European settlement scheme as somebody who has pre settled status, you have to be able to show that you meet all of the requirements. And the requirements are you should be able to show that you have a relationship with this partner, whether it's somebody who is British, settled, or even under the EU settlement scheme with pre settled status. And of course, the relationship has to be genuine and subsisting. The second requirement is that you should be able to show immigration status. And in his case, he says that he hasn't got one. So he would not be able to meet that requirement. Then you have somebody who has to also meet the financial requirement. So the third requirement is the financial requirement, where the government has said the income threshold for the year has to be at least 29,000. And then you also have the English language requirement, which I discussed today, which would necessarily have to be at a level A1. If for any reason you don't meet the immigration status requirement or the English language requirement or the financial requirements, the exceptions to the rules will now come into play. The mandatory requirement is the relationship requirement. If you are not able to satisfy the relationship requirements, you have no application whatsoever. So the other three requirements are the ones that may require you to look at the exceptions. And like I said, the exceptions to the rules are in two parts. Either that you show that you have a child who is under the age of 18 that you have parental responsibility over, and therefore it will be unreasonable for the child to leave the UK. Or the second part is to show that you and your partner will have great difficulty going back to the country from which you are coming from. And it could be that, for instance, you are suffering from some sort of illness where there is no treatment whatsoever in the country that you are coming from. Bear in mind that the UK has guidance for each and every country where the migrants are coming into the UK. So if you go into the .gov the UK, they have guidance for countries like Ghana, um, Togo, Burkina Faso. They have guidance for a lot of the countries where there are migrants here in the UK. So if you say that you don't think they will have treatment available for the sickness, they will definitely look to their guidance to see what is available. And if what you are saying is wrong, they will pick up on that and let you know that there is treatment available. So it has to be something where it is greatly dire, probably terminal, and therefore, because there's no way you can be moved even through an aircraft, they will have to keep you here in the UK and grant you leave. So it's a very high threshold when it comes to insurmountable obstacles.
Well, the answers tailor-made for you, very eloquently and expertly delivered. BWF solicitors, that's that for you. I think we may have to take just one more. Then we'll take another break, but we will be revisiting our nugget and the scenario. Then I'll be inviting your answers. Nana, yes, is the last one I'm going to pick. Can you travel to Ghana with your indefinite leave whilst your British citizenship application is pending?
Yes, yes. So if you have indefinite leave to remain, there are no restrictions to your leave in the United Kingdom. So you can travel, it doesn't cancel your leave. Whereas those who just have leave to remain, whilst your application is pending, you are unable to travel because by traveling, you automatically cancel your application with the Home Office. So if you have indefinite leave to remain, you can still travel. It does not cancel out your naturalization application. And the only thing is, once you receive your decision for naturalization, you have to attend the ceremony before traveling again. Usually, they expect that once you've gotten your certificate, you apply for your passport. You can't have the certificate and not apply for the passport um, because you're now a British citizen. So they expect that you will immediately do the passport and then travel with the passport because the certificate for naturalization automatically cancels out your indefinite leave to remain. So even though you have the indefinite leave to remain card or the stamp in your passport, if you have a naturalization certificate, it automatically cancels out your indefinite leave to remain. So they expect that you will not travel until you've applied for your passport. Yeah.
Well, I said I was going to pick up the very last one, but Leah, please bear with me. I've got this other one that I want to quickly pick up for Tiahine. It would be unreasonable for the child to leave the UK. Is this applicable if the child has indefinite but was not born in the UK?
Yes, so under the immigration rules under Appendix FM, it does specify um, the criteria they're looking for. So it has to be a child who is in the UK, a child who is also under the age of 18, and then it also says that the child must be a British citizen or settled or must have lived in the UK continuously for a 7 year period preceding the date of the application. So it's very important that, obviously, if you are saying that the child is settled here in the UK, was not born here in the UK, you can still say that because this child is settled here, you are making the application on that basis to say that you are a parent to this child and the child is still under the age of 18 and therefore you have care parental responsibility for that child.
Still live with you on the community and the law. Do you know it's a criminal offense for an unqualified and unregulated person to give immigration advice? This means an unqualified and unregulated person cannot provide advice tailored to an individual situation rather than just general information. If you wish to provide immigration advice or services, you must apply for registration with the Immigration Advice Authority, that is IAA. Section 92B of the Immigration and Asylum Act of 1999 tells us that. So, answer this for me. Which of these three statements will be accurate looking at Kofi Antobam's situation? He comes to instruct you that he intends to open Kofi Advice and Consultancy Center so that he can provide immigration advice to the community in Salford. Kofi has a law degree from the University of Umofia and a master's degree in law from Birmingham University. So tell me which of these three statements is accurate. As Kofi intends to provide immigration advice to the public, he must register with the Immigration Advice Authority because he is unqualified. As Kofi has a master's degree in law, he's a lawyer and can provide immigration advice. And three, Kofi has set up a consultancy, no Kofi, they can provide immigration advice. After this break, I'll take your answers and then ask lawyer Eunice Achampon to help us.
AA Music Entertainment presents Emmanuel Praise on the 25th of May at the Pavilion, 143 to 146 Oxford Road, Reading, RG1 7UY, featuring Irabna, Joyce Blessing, and hosted by Alex Achampo. Show starts at 6 p.m. with a concession price of £15 for children from 5 to 16 years old. Tickets are £35 standard, £60 double, £60 VIP. Includes a VIP seat, meet and greet the artiste, take pictures with the artiste, VIP snacks, water and drink. Get your tickets at alexachampon.com or call 0744 741 7321. Emmanuel Praise with Irabna and Joyce Blessing and hosted by Alex Achampon. It's guaranteed to be awesome.
Welcome back. Kofi Amtubam situation. Can we see which answers you have provided me? Which of the following statements is accurate? As Kofi intends to provide immigration advice to the public, he must register with the Immigration Advice Authority. As Kofi has a master's degree in law, is a lawyer, and he can provide immigration advice. As Kofi has set up a consultancy, no Kofi, they can provide immigration advice. Emilia says it's number one. Kofi intends to do that, so he must register because he is not qualified. Alfred thinks it's one as well. Thank you, Alfie. Let's see who else has anything. Isaac Frimpong. Ike says it's number three. As Kofi has set up a consultancy, they can provide immigration advice. Okay. Well, I thank you. Mabel says it's number three. Same as Ike, as Kofi has set up a consultancy, he can do that. Even Satobra says it's number one. Kofi is not qualified, so he must register. Albert Bedia says it's number three. No Kofio is set up so they can provide advice. Okay. Feriza Chumwa says Kofi has a master's degree in law. He is a lawyer and can provide immigration advice. Well, first, thank you. Stephen Dankwa says it's number two, agrees with Feriza, and because Kofi has a master's degree. Daniel Kusi thinks it's number three. Kofi has set up a consultancy so he can provide immigration advice. Let's see how many more we have. Isaac Darko thinks it's number one. Ike, thank you. Ike, have you changed your mind? Anyway, Eric Okoko says it's number three. He set up a consultancy so they can provide immigration advice. Nana Kofi thinks it's number three as well. Nana Kofi, thank you. We'll be going over to lawyer pretty soon. Jennifer says it's number one. Who else do we have here? Sarah Okran says it's number two. Kofi has a master's degree in law. He's a lawyer and can provide immigration advice. Lydia Essien says it's number three. Okay, so we have varied answers. Lawyer, help me. Kofi Antoman
Wow, I
comes to
actually
instruct
thought
you
that.
that he intends to open no Kofi advice and consultancy center. He has a law degree from the University of Imofia. He has a master's degree in law.
To
Yes.
tell you
So
the
which
truth,
of the
I
statements will
believe
be
that.
accurate, lawyer?
Yeah, the answers that we're getting sort of is like a demography of the people that actually come to us who have previously used people to make the applications that are not qualified legal advisors.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and for I think it was Mr. Uh, Kofi again who changed his answer. I was thinking, why did he change it? But well, so let's look at the question. So it says Kofi Antoban comes to instruct you that he intends to open Nokofio Advice and Consultancy Center so that he can provide immigration advice to his community in Salford. So he has a degree already, a law degree from the University of Umofia, and a master's degree from Birmingham. So now he's opened up his consultancy and he's telling people in his community he's going to give them free, maybe paid for legal advice for immigration. And usually we have the Office of Immigration Services Commission, which regulates those who do not want to set up a law firm. So if you want to set up, let's say, an advisory center, or like in Mr. Antobam's case, he set up a consultancy for immigration advice. He would have to show that he has not only completed a law degree, but that he has also registered and is regulated by the Office of Immigration Services Commission. So once he is able to show that he has registered with them and he has the required qualification, you can then go to him for advice. So the law degree is insufficient to say that he can give immigration advice. He needs more than a law degree. So the answers are listed. As Kofi intends to provide immigration advice to the public, he must register with the Immigration Advice Authority because he is unqualified. I think that is the most likely answer, because answer two says, as Kofi has a master's degree in law, he is a lawyer and can provide immigration advice. Just because somebody has a law degree does not make them a lawyer. A law degree is insufficient to make somebody um, a professional in giving immigration advice. Um, Answer three says that as Kofi has set up a consultancy, Noko feel they can provide immigration advice. Yes, he can set up a consultancy, but that does not mean that the consultancy and himself are registered or regulated um, persons or bodies. So you need to be sure that Mr. Kofi Antobam is registered and is also being regulated as well before he can provide immigration advice. Um, I think that those who answered question one have the right answer.
So, which of the statements is accurate? Yes, Kofi intends to provide immigration advice to the public. He must register with the Immigration Advice Authority because he's unqualified. Remember, we looked at that in the nugget, and we established, as lawyer Eunice has explained, it's unlawful for any other person to provide immigration advice or services directly to an individual in the UK, except the following: an immigration advisor who is registered with the Immigration Advice Authority or is exempt from registration. Then a solicitor who is registered with the Solicitors Regulation Authority in England and Wales, Law Society of Law Scotland, or Law Society of Northern Ireland, and also a barrister who is regulated by the Bar Standards Board of England and Wales, Faculty of Advocates, Scotland, or the Bar Council of Northern Ireland. Remember, don't fall foul of the law. Don't do it if you don't have that qualification. But I will advise you that why do you go past the best when you have it very close to you? BWF Solicitors is just on the fourth floor of the other house, 214-218 Tottenham High Road. They are a phone call away from you, so call them on 0208 493 7340. Or if you are in Ghana, you can also get them on this telephone number 00233 55959. In emergency situations, you can call 077 or Lawyer Eunice is available for you to call her anytime, as she mentioned and promised. You can get that on the master scene, and I'll put her number on the screen for you. Eunice is here and ready to listen to you. But before we draw the curtains down, let me Yeah, I've got Lawyer Eunice's number on the screen for you. So pick up your pen and write it, please. 075 3581 3910. 075 3581 3910. Lawyer Eunice, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Saturday afternoons are not the best time to draw you away from the family. And I'm even surprised the little one has kept so quiet. But maybe you help us with a summary of what we discussed this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Roku. I know that by now he's literally sleeping. I'm praying that he stays
We'll not
asleep.
make noise.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. So yes, today our topic was to do with why you must complete or pass an English language test and life in the UK test when applying for indefinite leave to remain. And very, very quickly, we said that this is because the government want to make sure that as many of the people who want to settle in the UK have sufficient knowledge about life in the UK and also sufficient knowledge about the English language. So they want to know that you are able to speak the English language and understand it, and that you also have some awareness, commercial awareness about the life and culture of those in the UK. Um, Very, very quickly, I will just run through the fact that when you are making an application on the family route, because it's not every indefinite leave to remain application that requires you to take those two exams. Very quickly, the indefinite leave to remain applications that require you to take these tests are usually those who are on the family route, whether it's as a spouse or as a parent or even based on your private life. And then you have those who may be taking um, the test because they are applying for indefinite leave to remain as skilled workers and dependents of skilled workers. Those who are highly skilled workers do not need to take this exam. So most people will be under either of these routes, whether the family route or the skilled worker route, to apply for indefinite leave to remain. And if so, you would need to complete the English language test at a level B1 if you do not have an undergraduate degree, or you do not have a master's, or you do not have a PhD. You can go ahead to complete the English speaking and listening exam at a level B1. And for those who will be completing that English language test, bear in mind that the English language test expires in 2 years. However, you have those who will be taking the Life in the UK test as well in order to meet the requirement. If you are taking the Life in the UK test, you must pass meeting the requirement, which is, I think, 18 out of 24 questions. And that test does not expire. I mean, the pass notification does not expire. So once you've passed, you can use it at any point in time for your application for indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Once you've successfully completed both the Life in the UK and the English language test, you can be rest assured that you can make the application for indefinite leave to remain. If you still have not been able to pass both, or you haven't been able to pass either the English or the Life in the UK test, you will be granted further leave to remain in the UK until you are able to pass. Thank you so much for listening, and our details will be put on the screen. If you would like to book consultation with us, whether in person or over the phone, you can go ahead and take down our details, and then we are open from Monday to Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Give us a call and we'll help you as much as we can.
Need I say more? It's been a lovely experience having Laura Eunice Champo with us. BWF Solicitors on the screen. You have a contact details in the UK 0208-493-7340. In Ghana 055-589-5959. In emergency situations 004477-1276-1884. Visit the website bwfsolicitors.com and on socials at BWF Solicitors. And on TV, you can get as BWTV on social media platforms all throughout. My name is Ore Kufipon on behalf of my producer, Professor Ade, Sheila Ankra, and Padma Dudu for the aesthetics, and to the BWF Solicitors family for providing production support. We want to say thank you once again and want to meet you again same time next week. Until then, be good.